Welcome back to It Tastes Like Burning. This Matt.
This is Jesse.
We have a very special guest today, but before we get into that, we'll always remind you how to reach out to us, find us, give us a like, click, subscribe, or a lick.
Yes, definitely the lick.
One of those. You can find us at ittasteslikeburningcast at ittasteslikeburningcast at gmail.com. You can find us at Patreon, Reddit, Twitter, and a whole bunch of other places under It Tastes Like Burning. And as per the usual, this is Matt.
It's Jesse.
And we're going to introduce our secret hidden guest. A lot of people probably know who this guy is. He is not the author of How to Make Friends and Influence People, but he does sound a lot like Jim Jones. I don't know why. Yeah, I'm thirsty. So, without a doubt, previously known as Jack, now coming out of the closet or the chapel, we have one, the only, Lowell.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. You know, I like how you call me special when we started. You know, my mama always said I was special, so it kind of hits home.
Yeah.
So did everyone else.
Put the cork back on the fork, Lowell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's also a fantastic movie.
It is a good
You got to
movie.
protect your eyes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Little Martin Short.
So,
Also a Texan, by the way.
yes.
Waco.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
So beyond saving babies and working a bunch and having your church and being a chaplain for the state of Texas at SFFMA, and then a chaplain at District 16 and a chaplain for Granbury. What else you working on?
Well, I've actually been doing a training. We had our first one on it and something we developed. It is called the basis of the training really is to serve the spouses of first responders, because it's something that's really forgotten. I know that we have so many. We in the fire service, we constantly train on loading hose and how to keep the truck safe, and training with your different trucks, checking all your equipment, double checking everything. But if we could have the same kind of professionalism, care, and passion that goes into taking care of our home life and our spouses, our kids, amazing the differences we could see in marriages and relationships and overall health of people.
So without being too much of an obvious schmuck, what's
Yeah, the consummate bachelor over here.
now? What's at the end of the day, Lowell? What are you trying to accomplish with your class, and where's it coming from?
So as I travel the state, I just served on a House committee with TCFP, and we studied suicide prevention and peer-to-peer support across the state. And we found that in some areas it has come very far in the past few years, but there's still a lot of areas where it's very lacking,
So
especially in the
name
volunteer side.
what's some areas where we've gained some ground?
Mostly in the career setting.
Okay.
But in the volunteer setting, the area that we have really gained a little bit of ground is just knowledge that those teams are out there and they're willing to come. As far as having people trained within the volunteer service in that, it's pretty much non-existent for the most part. But we're working on things right now to help change that also. A lot of the career departments, they are instituting programs within the departments. And there are peer-to-peer teams across the state that are serving close to those departments. So that's making a big difference. But the suicide prevention outside of career departments and in a lot of the career departments is still very lacking.
Let's go down that rabbit hole real quick. Kind of don't be afraid to read in between the lines of my question I'm going to ask you, and kind of like see the future, where we're going with this discussion. And I'm not trying to mitigate that suicide prevention obviously is critical, but isn't that kind of like the end game?
Yeah.
Like, realistically, shouldn't we be focusing more on the things that are leading up to the person being at the suicide prevention stage?
Oh, very much so. And I think a lot of when we look at suicide prevention, it's not a immediate response to a incident. It has to be people in the stations on the fire ground after the call that recognize telltale signs, having people there who are willing to ask the tough questions, who are willing to, and it all starts with compassion. It's
Ooh.
but and I know it's a terrible thing in the fire service. People ask me the difference between pastoral work and chaplain work, and I said, pastoral work is faith-based, but chaplain work is compassion-based.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you needed an autoclave.
On occasion, and the thing is that I am going to have compassion on most people. If I'm talking to Jesse and he's going through something, I'm gonna have compassion. If I'm talking to Matt, there is no compassion for Matt. So, we have to, vary how we look at things. But at the end of the day, um, just having people trained within the departments to look for the signs, to be around and just understand slight changes in demeanor, pick up on little keywords and little things. One of the greatest things we hear from people is, "I'm sorry, I haven't been around much. I've just been too busy." Well, sometimes that's the case, but sometimes that's a keyword.
I argue that anybody that says they're too busy is lying to themselves, right?
Yeah.
And there's something else because I know some guys that are I'm relatively busy. I know guys that are more busy than me
Hmm.
that are still way involved in a lot of things,
Mhm.
right? And still able to do most of it pretty well,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. And I'm one of those this year that, yeah, as far as running calls and being on scene, yeah, it's been my slowest year for many, many years. But at the end of the day, I have been extremely busy this year, and it's not that I haven't been doing things within the fire service. I
Hey,
most
now, damn
definitely
it, it
have.
doesn't matter that you're actually making a difference and other impacts in people's lives at a state and national level.
Yeah, no, that's irrelevant.
Yeah,
I've learned that
yeah.
already.
I need to run a lift assist. At least three
Yeah.
more of those a month, and
The toe pain at 2:30 in the morning after 4 days on a Sunday,
yeah,
like, come on,
perfect.
priorities.
Yeah, and so, but when we hear those keywords from people, I just haven't. I've been too busy, and you have to start to look at it and say, okay, well, how are things with your home life? How are things with your marriage? And even convincing somebody that what we do as volunteers is not the most important thing in your life. We have to get out of the mindset that it's my volunteer fire service, and then it's my marriage, and then it's my kids, and then it's all these
So
things.
for the last almost 30 years, I've held this belief that I just keep her almost mad enough to kill me, but just short of acting on those impulses. And it's worked for 30 years.
Up until now. Up until now.
I mean, she did unholster the weapon, but
That's
But
But
that's
did she
neither here
point
nor
it
there.
at you?
no, no,
Yeah, see,
It's
good.
no harm, no foul.
No
Yeah.
harm, no foul.
It's fine.
Yeah, we'll just carry on, ignore it. Yeah. So your most recent class that you're creating,
Mhm.
what's it actually specifically focused at?
A lot of it truly is communication. It really is. It's called Beyond Survival because it's
Communication to who?
between the first responder and the first responder spouse.
Okay, so it's not a chief and officer and officer and
No,
firefighter class
yeah,
directly.
no, not at all. The fact is that as first responders and as spouses of first responders, that you speak different languages. You have different expectations. Let's say you come home, you've been running calls all day, you've been on a bad call, whatever it might be. You walk in the door, and at that moment, your spouse is looking to reconnect. You've been gone all day. I want to reconnect. I've missed you. I need help with this. And the fact is, the first responders walking into the safest place they have. They're walking into their safe place where they can actually get rest. They can find peace outside of the chaos. And if that's what they are coming home to, the spouse wants to reconnect. First responder wants to remove himself from the chaos for a bit. And just by communicating and say, okay, we need to set boundaries where give me 30 minutes to reset. Give me 30 minutes to clear my head, and then we can reconnect. It things like that, it starts to solve so many problems that we face where it could turn into an instant argument. But instead, we have set boundaries on this that I take 30 minutes. And then we also set boundaries of after my 30 minutes, how do we reconnect? Is it sitting on the porch having a cup of coffee? Do we sit down and watch a show together? Do we talk about the day? Whatever it might be, but having clear boundaries. And there's a lot of things within it that address some of those things to make communication and understanding easier. And then we also dive into the different trains of thought as a first responder. We think very differently than your average public, and we use different communication tools than your average public would. Sometimes that doesn't transfer into your marriage very well.
So, how do you handle? Is it a communications class or is it for a lack of better words, overall awareness class between the first responder, spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, child?
It's more a overall awareness class.
So who's the actual awareness for then?
For both. It can truly be used for both because both sides need to understand it, because marriage is never meant to be 50-50. Marriage has to be 100-100. You've got to give everything on both sides, right? And so it's showing that if we can address some of these issues up front, they are not major issues on the back end. And the truth of it is, if we can stop one divorce a month, if we can stop one suicide, then it's worth every bit. It's worth every second.
We've talked a ton about this before, not necessarily your class, but just in general. I think when people are at those, for lack of better words, that last fork in the road, I think the problem is that, and your class addresses this, addresses is a strong word. It starts the discussion, okay, on how to try and not get to the last fork in the road. It's a part of PTSD. It's a part of suicide awareness. It's a part of first responder just stress. And the fact of the matter is that, and my next statement is not accusatory. It's just from a perpetual bachelor's point of view. The spouse significantly understands the potential stress of turning around and asking their husband or wife, what happened on that call? Tell me about that call. And then not shutting up about that last call and continuing to jabber about that last call. And then you get sucked into some other crap on that last call.
Yeah.
And what you don't realize is that you're creating an absolute, to use a PC term, hostile environment where, and I'm going to steal your word of a peace and refuge and rest and relaxation. And then here you are trying to figure out how to not describe to your spouse and how that baby died. Because you don't particularly feel like that they need that information.
Yeah, very much so.
But the spouse is over there with a sharpened pitchfork, and then it's the next call and the next call and the next call. And what happens is that sooner or later, there's that proverbial
tipping point,
barrier, bridge cross, tipping point, whatever it is. I mean, I don't care on your analogy.
Yeah.
Where you go too far, you don't even realize you went too far.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously you can come back, but coming back makes it sound like that it's just grabbing a Frisbee and throwing it back across the field. And it's really not. I would argue that you've crossed a Rubicon with that spouse and you don't even realize you've done it. And instead of being able to have a reprieve, now you're a pressure point.
Yes. And so,
And then the marriage and relationship or whatever continues to spiral and devolve from that point.
and I think a lot of it's recognizing. Fact is that, and we go over this in it, that what we deal with, it's not a sudden and it's not a immediate reaction to something. The fact is that it is a progression. It's carrying a backpack on your bag and adding one stone in it. One stone doesn't weigh too much, but tomorrow you're going to add another one in it. Pretty soon, it's a weight that is too heavy to, carry. Years ago, I was driving through Granbury, and I was behind a travel trailer. And this travel trailer, Granbury traffic makes me mad one or another, but I'm like, why are they going so slow? And as I go around this trailer, I realize this travel trailer is being pulled by a Nissan Altima. And the back of this car, yes. And I was like, good on the Altima. That's impressive. Back of the car is buried to the ground, front end's picked up, motor's just screaming, you know. The fact is that car was carrying a weight it was never designed to carry. And it's doing the job. It's doing something it was not designed to do, but it is exerting maximum effort to be able to carry that weight. And I think so many times we find people that are at that point to where they're exerting maximum effort just to carry that weight and get through the day, get through the night, get to the softball game with your kids and get home, get the yard mowed, do all these things, and while still trying to carry that weight. And I think it's important that we start to recognize the weights that's being carried and start pulling stones out of that backpack.
I think there's a part of this at where, and I mean, I'm going to sound rhetorical and almost like Captain Obvious here. But if you take a general look at positions that generally encounter high stress, okay, the other thing that I would add to this is a typical standard American family work hours. Okay. So you work a 12-hour shift or a 24 or a 48, and then you have atypical stressors, and it may be military, law enforcement, EMS, fire, may just be a very high stress position at work. That the typical delusion that's associated with the perception of young people's vision of marriage and being a white picket fence and 3.5 kids is so diluted and so out of touch with the modern day stressors. Then you combine that with a high stress job, a high intensity job that's also a odd hours job.
Mhm.
And I think what you're ending up getting is so many stacked variables and factors that are not remotely addressed anywhere in any facet. And then people theoretically have counselors or they go talk to these therapists. And of course, this idiot has typical idiot, sorry, quick asterisks, standard idiot. They work 9 to 3 and have not done anything outside in the last 35 years. And there's no way that the therapist or counselor can actually give any beneficial advice because they have unequivocally no way to actually relate to the 37 stressors that are factored into that to that day's relationship blow up.
Yeah.
And when you take a spouse, arguably children, but particularly a spouse that thinks that they understand what their other half does, but truly has no clue what the other half does, it's a recipe for disaster. And what does this look like? I'll tell you this. The amount of people that I know that have a divorce is sure as hell of a lot more people than I know that have a successful marriage.
Oh yeah, most
And
definitely.
that number is in like, oh, I'll be generous and say the 99 percentile.
Yeah.
And I think I'm actually probably being conservative there.
Mm-hmm.
You're onto something. I know you're onto something, but I'm also the guy that refuses to get married.
And the thing is that I know of 3 people I personally know who have ended their life this year after their marriage collapsed.
Yeah.
And fact is that people view the marriages and they think, oh, it's a marriage, you'll move on, you'll meet somebody new. Well, yeah, that very well may be the case. But for somebody who's been adding stones to that backpack and the marriage falling apart is like dropping a boulder.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I, as one of the really odd people that have been married to the same person for 3 decades almost, right?
Yeah.
Uh, I get asked sometimes, just like, how did you do that? And honestly, there there's a lot more give than take, right?
Yeah.
You've got to be willing to be a giver,
Mm-hmm.
and that plays into a first responder's mindset,
Yeah.
right? Because they're already a giver. They wouldn't be here doing this if they weren't
right.
a giver. And but there has to be support on the back end of that, right? There has to be that supportive person that supports you in giving.
Yes.
And it can't be just a straight take.
Yeah, most definitely. But through this, we wanted to just find a way to, as the title says, beyond survival, thriving as a firefighter family. Understanding the firefighter, protecting the marriage, strengthening the family. We want to be able to put people, I can't change your life, but if I can help put you in a place where I can help you find success in it, then, I'd love to do that.
Yeah, I while you guys were talking, I pulled up these stats. So this is US numbers. Males account for roughly 80% all suicides. There are 38 to 40,000 male suicides a year, 3,200 to 3,300 per month, or 750 men per week, or 100 per day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the US.
Yeah.
And particularly when you get to fire, EMS, law enforcement,
Very.
military, which is exponentially higher,
Yes.
male dominated. And we're not having a discussion about the chauvinistic world of military, EMS, fire, and
Yeah.
police. Like, the interesting breakdown of that number, and it might be worth asking real quick, is how many of these are fire, EMS, police, and military.
Yeah.
The
And you could throw other high stress things into that, right?
Yeah.
Pilots and other high stress positions.
Yeah.
Stockbrokers.
Yeah.
Whatever, right?
When I think of high stress position, I think of school teacher.
Yeah,
I
it
would.
can be.
I
Yeah,
don't think I could put up with kids all day.
no, no.
I love my kids, but
But that's about the extent of it, right? So, let's shift this conversation a little bit because I have another thing, right? You're coming up with this program and it's your thing and you're making it from scratch, right? This is not something that was canned that somebody else built. This is Lowell made this. This is Lowell's thing. And just the aspect of being a groundbreaker, a trendsetter, being the first one through the wall, right? The bloody nose. uh, that in itself has a lot of stressors.
yeah, whether it be, it's kind of funny developing this training. I had somebody asked me. They said, "I think you developed the only fire training possible that is not reimbursable through grant money." And I laughed and I said, they said, well, why did you do that? I said, because there's a need.
Right.
We see a need, we address a need.
Yeah. The absolute travesty in this, the absolute travesty in this is that we're even having a discussion about the fact that it's reimbursable.
Yes, I agree.
Like that's I mean, we try pretty hard to not cuss in this. At least I do, which is a motherfucking miracle. Okay. But do you realize how absolutely fucking goddamn pathetic
No, I do.
that actually is?
No, I agree.
Is that, this would be awesome if this fucking bitch was reimbursable.
I was dumbfounded when this person said that to me, and I thought, that part never even crossed my mind. I mean, they're like, well, you can't charge for this. I'm like, well, why would I want to charge for it? It's,
do you have to charge for? I mean, that's
I mean,
that is another thing, and a lot of people don't understand. And you and I have developed a lot of programs for fire training stuff that we neither one have personally profited from any of the stuff we've ever built.
Yeah. No, if anything, we're going to die a lot sooner because of it.
Right. And occasionally there'll be an opportunity. Like I might have an opportunity here before long for something that I develop to maybe offset some cost of development.
Yeah. Right? So if y'all don't know, Jesse has decided to dive in the world of writing code. And so
yeah, we talked about that on the last episode, right?
Oddly enough, we talked about it, but we really didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh, quick shout out to Mike. And did you see his email?
I did see his email.
And he gets
it, but Mike gets it. We know Mike gets it. Right?
He's using AI a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So I vibe code. This is a thing, right? Where you get a vibe, you code it. I built a system to manage skills exams, specifically for state fireman, fire marshal skills exam. But the system could carry into any NREMT, any of those things that would allow this type of paperless system to manage a skills exam.
Why would you do that?
Because I don't like, oddly enough, chopping down 300 trees to print 4 reams of paper to do a skills exam and then having to sort through all that crap and remove 3,000 staples to scan it back in to turn it into a digital document.
Okay. So you're saying that you used AI to enhance and increase efficiency in your standardization of workflow and the bureaucracy that's forced upon you by state regulatory agencies?
Yes.
Okay.
yes, that's it.
It helps.
That would be the best descriptor possible.
And I'll never be able to say that again. So make sure this is recorded.
Put that on your refrigerator.
It's a magnet.
We have some of these archaic things that we have done or that we do that are long established, and it takes an idea, right? Somebody has to have the idea for this thing. And that's honestly, I've had the idea, but did not have the ability to execute the idea.
In the fire service, we're the best at saying, well, that's always the way we've done it.
Right.
It's like that years ago. Somebody told me a story, and there was this girl, she got married, and her new husband, it was coming up on Thanksgiving, and she's going to cook a ham during Thanksgiving. She cooked the turkey, going to cook a ham too. She takes the ham and cuts a third off the end of it. And he's like, why'd you do that? Cook the whole thing. She's like, no, that's the way my grandma does it. He's like, why? I don't know. That's the way my grandma does it. Always done it that way. It's like, well, no, cook the whole thing. She's like, no, my grandma always does it. Well, go ahead and call her. Calls up her grandma, and she said, Grandma, why do you always cut the third off the end of the ham? And she said, well, honey, that's the biggest pot I had. Just because it's always been done one way doesn't mean it's right or effective. We have to be open to change, open to new ideas, and open to increasing efficiency.
You shut your whore mouth, please.
So we don't do that around here.
And for those that don't know, I'm intentionally running for, and I say intentionally running because I made a decision to do that.
Yeah.
for 4th Vice President of the State Fireman Fire Marshals. This is a thing that I've thought about for a long time and all that. And part of what I think is important is that we have histories and traditions that are important to us, right? But that doesn't mean we can't alter the path to get to that.
Right.
We can't enhance the ability for us to use those histories and traditions to make things easier and better for us.
I'm on the e-board now, so I can't say that. I'll have past presidents coming after me.
Right.
No, I'm joking.
What is an e-board? What's an e-board?
Oh, the executive board for state firefighters and fire marshals.
Oh, okay.
So,
Which state?
To me, things like
Texas, the only state.
That's right. So to me, the things like this software, right? We've done all this on paper since God's dog died, and we've killed millions of trees for the sake of throwing paper in the trash can, because that's what happens to it. It gets scanned, and then the paper goes in the trash can. And I'm not a big environmentalist like that. That is not who I am. It is the most archaic process known to man to do that.
Redwood makes the best paper.
Yeah. I think it's the crappy pines that aren't good enough to be 2x4
No.
telephone poles, right?
They sure do end up as 2x4s a lot often, though.
But I think it's just the idea, and we have to execute on some of these ideas that we have to make things better, whether that's not the way we've always done it or it is the way we've always done it, right?
Yeah.
I think that's important for moving forward and being better, right? Because I wrote this program and I did it on a computer. Everything I ever did with it was on the computer, and then I sent it to somebody to beta test it for me.
Yeah.
And they picked up their phone to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no inclination, the thought never crossed my mind. Somebody's going to want to use this on their phone. Well, guess what? It doesn't work. It didn't work well on a phone. Since been fixed, right? I dove in and fixed that. But the phone that's the computer everybody carries in their pocket.
Yeah.
Or bra.
Yeah.
Right? So why would we not make the computer that we're carrying with us everywhere we go not a useful tool for what we're doing?
Yeah. We are very hesitant to change in the fire service in many ways. Everybody wants to improve, but nobody wants to change. And so I think by using some of these avenues and improving in certain ways like that it can go ahead leaps and bounds very quickly.
I think you're going to see, and it's really has a lot to do with the abilities of AI in the last year, because I'm seeing these conversations and these people that have no really basis of knowledge for any of this stuff making these improvements that would have never been possible 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
So processes and data and all these other things. I know 2 or 3 people that are currently writing software for the fire service.
Yeah. Something that would have not have been possible a couple of years ago.
And none of those people are software engineers. Not a single one of them.
Yeah.
Because oddly enough, talk about one thing that requires a very specific skill set.
Yeah.
I'm all about using AI, just as long as it's not built in Hood County.
Did you dabble in AI at all? I know we pointed you in that direction. Did it
I
help?
have been for a long time now. I use it to do a lot of renderings at work, different things like that. So yeah,
But I think we did open the door for you for using it for curriculum.
Oh yes, yeah, and been using a different AI that you showed me that works great for that. It has its limitations in other areas, but it works great for that stuff. And it's taken something that's been 2 years in the making, and I would have had to spend 6 more months to, jump ahead what I did in a week.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I learned. And it all started with something that I just built, and we stood up another academy, right? Through the district. I rebuilt an existing academy before, but I've never stood one up from scratch. Well, I had these definite things that I wanted. I wanted some stuff to be a certain way because I wanted it to be auditable and transparent, and
Why is that important?
because there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of people doing this similar type thing, and I want, when the question is, "Hey, did you guys do this, or is this covered?" I want it to be just, yeah, go right here. Here it is. Here's how it was covered. Here's what we did.
Who else is doing it?
Uh, Academies, they're all over. I Most are using Resource One straight out of the ItTastesLikeBurning curriculum,
Okay.
right? Nobody's building from scratch.
Okay. What is yours?
From scratch.
Okay. Yeah, like that's why I'm going down this rabbit hole, because
no,
you managed to literally dodge the Mount Everest impacting the Earth at 22,000 miles per second hole. And it's like, oh yeah, everyone's fucking doing this. And it's like, no,
No, they're not.
no, they're not.
And I love the fact that even by the presentation that was done the other day, you had people who are chiefs and people who were involved in huge training areas coming in and just with their jaw on the ground as we go through the program, as Jesse's walking through it, showing how it's laid out, and just saying, "Ow, how did y'all do this?" And so now it was kudos to both of y'all for the massive, colossal amount of work. I told Jesse that I was going to get him a shirt that said, I spent 400 hours developing a training program to, revolutionize fire academies in Texas, and all I got for it was his t-shirt.
Yeah,
T-shirt.
but you should add 2 or 3 other programs on there that I side quested on, right?
Yeah, I mean,
That's the stupid part, right?
the bull crap I've done, and I do mean this. It literally anyone can do that. That just requires someone stupid enough or whatever that's willing to just sit down and plow through it. There's a huge difference between what Jesse's done and what I've done. Like what I've done is boring and can be done while hammered drunk.
You just described yourself perfectly. I
Like
love that.
no, what Jesse's done to this is truly, it's not fair because there's not the right ability. I don't have the vocabulary to actually describe what you've done to this program. Revolutionaries involves too much black barrel smoke from a gun. But that's the level that it is. The fact of the matter is, and I'm going to sound like a putz when I say this, and I don't care. No one else on the planet's doing this. No one else is putting this amount of time, energy, and effort. And yeah, and there's occasionally I'll take a swipe at Jesse, and it's nothing intended to be more than just a joke. I'm like, don't give Jesse credit for all this coding because he can't spell code.
KODE.
Okay, but it is. It's a harmless swipe. Like the amount of time, energy, and effort that you're putting into this for freaking, just a bunch of idiot schmuck volunteers. And the sad truth is that if there was just, I don't know, 2 other people in the United States that remotely gave as big of a damn as you give, we could completely change firefighter training in North America.
So, and I've said this a handful of times, right? I can run calls at work, and I can help those fine people in the community I serve for my job. I can run calls here in Granbury, and I can help those people that need help, right?
Yeah.
I can do stuff like this, and I can help every community in the state of Texas.
That's right. Yep.
And I can I carry that through, and that's even one of the reasons that brought me to wanting to run for that fourth VP spot, right? It gives me the opportunity to help more people that I would never get the opportunity to help otherwise.
I found myself in the same position that, I could go run calls, do these things. And a lot of times the guys in your own department don't really understand. It's like, well,
No, they don't.
why are you not around? Why are you not on scene? All this. Well, yeah, I could go help that person. I could go help get that lady out of bed or off the toilet or, whatever it might be. Or I can spend time, energy, and effort in helping a large swath of people across the state.
Including the people in my community,
100%.
right? Because by building these programs that you're working on, that I'm working on, by building these programs, they also get used at home.
That's right.
And that enhances the ability of the responders in our department to do a better job, to provide a higher level of service, to be trained, to be educated, to be stable. And that part of it, no one understands. No one understands.
Well,
that.
they don't understand, but I'll compound that. The reason they don't understand it is because we have a series. This is the unicorn part of my organization. We have a series of people that are in the position to be able to just put things in place. And I would argue it's our downfall. That is arguably the biggest benefit, not only to them, but truly changes monumental, earth shattering changes inside the organization. But because we have the ability to directly influence, input, and implement, the membership has no clue that you literally put lightning in a bottle and magically snapped your fingers and teleported to a new dimension. And you have no clue that any of this happened because you have all of these people in the same place. And it takes, and I mean this, years for them to be able to remotely be cognizant enough, to be observant enough to realize around them, to 5 years down the road to be like, well, why the hell aren't they doing that? We're doing that. And it's like, right, stupid. You didn't do that. That happened 5 years ago because there was 8 people in place that just made it happen.
And off of what you're saying, and this was as I was outlaying the little software program I wrote for the skills testing. Someone in the audience asked, was this approved by SFFMA? Well, I gave the general answer, yes, it's fine. But the reality of that answer is there's 3 people that would declare that, yes, this meets the criteria. It falls within the rules. It's usable. And I'm a third of that.
Yeah.
Right? So I had to run this by 2 other people to get the blessing of it, right? And really 1, because the other one was going to be for it regardless, because they want to use it. So the reality is if you put yourself in position to be able to affect change and make things better, like that has a lot of value for not just the big picture, but the small picture as well.
I mean, look how much things have changed over the past 5 years. Look at myself. 15 years of going to fire schools and doing training to get to firefighter 2, and I was nowhere close after tons of trainings because you take some and there's no way to input them for years, and then we go through this battle of trying to get things input. Then later on, when you finally get them able to be input, they said, well, this one doesn't meet the new requirements, and so all of a sudden it's just massive. I've spent years and years of training and I'm nowhere closer. And then all of a sudden, we're doing fire academies here, and Jesse's leading a charge and Matt on this. And all of a sudden, I'm able to go through that and finish out what I need to. able to, through reciprocity, get my TCFP. It's
I think part of that's just understanding the process, right? And taking the time to actually understand the process. Here's the box. Here's the sides. Here's what you got to operate in.
Yeah.
Figure out how to operate within that box to do what you need to do. It's not changing the rules. It's not bending the rules.
No.
It's figuring out how to make it work within the confines of this box.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a lot of folks that can make that cognitive leap.
Ooh, no, now see, I'll disagree with you there. I think almost anyone and everyone can make the cognitive leap. What they lack is the ability to sit there and beat their head into the concrete wall and the patience to figure it out.
That may be true.
Okay. Where they just want it on the proverbial silver platter.
Yeah.
Okay. This is how you do it. Okay. Well, yeah, part of that is this is how you do it, but you don't realize that the first 12 years of beating your head against the wall was important to actually understanding the process.
Well, and two, a lot of those processes up until we kind of broke some barriers as a department, a lot of that was theoretical. This would be how you would do it if somebody was doing it, right?
And no one did.
And no one did.
And then we come bumping down the log. And it's like, huh, here's this on switch, but it's off.
And now
Well, I wonder what happens. Hey, what does this thing do? I don't know. And then you call up to the state. What does this do? I don't know. Okay. Then you put on your art gloves and your welder's mask and you hit the on switch. And there wasn't an explosion.
Right.
And then skip ahead a few years and we've seen all that. And then Jesse's like, you want it on the silver platter? I'm about to build you a silver platter. And that's what you see.
The only flaw that I see in our system, and there's no way for us to combat this, is that we're still the only ones that understand the system.
So, yes.
That's a problem. That in itself's a problem.
I think that part of what, if we were bottling it and selling it, and just follow me on this for a minute. If we were bottling it and selling it, how many people would buy it versus here it is, you just got to adapt it to what you want.
Oh yeah, no. I know you're right about that. It's probably as low as 300 to 1.
Right.
Maybe 3,000 to 1.
Yeah.
Like there would, if you sat there, you know what? No, damn it, we've already done that. We've already gift wrapped it and give it to everyone, and they're still
they can't make it work. They don't understand how to make it work.
Yeah.
But I guarantee if you put a price tag on it,
Oh yeah.
and said buy this and it works, it'd work for every one of them.
Here's the funny thing. You could tell them buy this, it works, and for an extra $50 a month, you got tech support. We'll grab your mitten and walk you through it. They'll pay the $1.99 and the $50 a month.
Yeah.
For the tech support.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it is the human body's one of the most incredible machines on the planet, but it tries to figure out how to be as lazy as possible at all times.
Mine sure does.
And I think there's also
I resemble that, Mark.
There's an aspect of things that if it lacks a price, it also lacks value.
Yeah.
Right?
Now you can ask Moses about that. Yeah, there's all seriousness though. I mean, and Lowell, to a certain extent, your program, I don't want to say is dealing with that because that's not fair to anyone and you. But at the end of the day,
they can come up with $500 to cover costs incurred.
Like I do. I think there's just a certain part of this that where how do you legitimize it?
If
That's the kicker, particularly for us.
Mhm.
How do you legitimize it? Because basically,
I built that in.
I mean,
I built that in. But I'm also hyper focused on that aspect of it, right? I was hyper focused on how do you legitimize this? How do you eliminate any uh what I lost the word that I'm opposition, right? How do you squash any opposition? How do you make it so that it's so transparent and so easy to see that it's legitimate? So I built that in.
well, I just at the end of the day, I'm going to kind of reference two things that I've always said in regards to training our program and then also opening up to the district and theoretically to the state and then anyone out of the state. The fact of the matter is that what you're doing this for is the benefit of your firefighters. The easiest way to have a benefit to your firefighters is literally at the direct local level.
Right.
Okay. On top of that, the fact of the matter is that there's just a certain amount of gravitas, legitimacy, and credit that you get for just being the lead sled dog. Okay. If you're grounded in what we're going to call reality, but in our case, and I know Jesse's heard me say this a bunch, if you are based in training first and certification second, in other words, our fire academy is not about the certification. It's about the training. The fact of the matter is that you pass any litmus test attached to it at that point.
Yeah, another thing. It's not based in profit,
Right.
Yeah.
right? And I understand as a business owner that profit is essential, right?
Yeah.
And I understand that a university has to have profit, right? I understand that has to be a
There are
thing,
bills to be paid, and yeah,
right? But that doesn't
it doesn't have to be your driving force for what you are doing.
correct. That it where does that distinction lie, right?
Yeah.
Is $1 billion profit enough? Is $1 million?
Yeah.
Is 100,000 enough?
Profit should just be a byproduct of
Right.
Well,
your passion.
but at the end of the day, it's the rendered goal.
Right.
Is the rendered goal training and education, or is the rendered goal to be profitability?
Will our district profit from this academy?
It should.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. It's what we do to reinvest that profit
Right.
that matters,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because as a nonprofit, we're not
Lowell needs a new Pope mobile.
That's right. Yes.
we don't get to take it home with us and put it in our pocket necessarily, right? So it has to have a purpose.
Right. Yeah, nationwide, this discussion's been happened to happen for the last 300 years. And at the end of the day, it really boils to this. You can only complain for so long before you're just complaining.
Right.
Or are you actually doing something proactive to find a solution?
I also there's a small part of me in some of this that I want to raise the standard of what education is, what a blended online based education is in the fire service in the state of Texas.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be terrible.
Doesn't have to be garbage.
Novel concept. It doesn't just have to be how fast can I get this done? Because at the end of the day, if you're a volunteer, it doesn't matter how fast you do it.
Well, we're also in a very unique position where certification prior to 5 years ago was an end goal.
Right.
Yeah.
And today certification is a beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the touch off point.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've made that transition in the product that we're providing as a certifying entity. Now it's just for the members to catch up on.
Now, but that's something truly unique to Texas.
Yeah, no, we're the only one.
I think Louisiana's looking very hard at.
Oh yeah, I can guarantee you,
So
Louisiana's
there's a lot
looking at
of
it.
and there's a
Carolinas. And
there will be a lot more as what we were building gets proven to be successful, right? It's got to do that first.
Yeah.
If it gets proven to be successful,
That damn thing went 14 yards.
this where
About $1 million or a stab in the neck.
I got the knife over here, so we're safe.
As it's proven to be successful, there will be a lot more interest.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. It will change the way that
They're going to
we
be
look at things and the way we look at training.
at the beginning of it. There will be people say this will never work. This is not effective. Give it a year.
Right. We
Come back to us.
the real basis is we've already got years and years of
Practical.
proving the concept,
Yeah.
right? We've just refined the concept into a packageable thing.
Right,
But
but
no longer have to listen to Lowell narrate a video for an hour and a half. And
that's actually been gone for a little over a year now.
Yeah. Thank God.
But the fact of the matter is, Lowell, is what you're working on. Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there ain't no one else doing this.
Yeah.
There's no other organization out there actually trying to address, hey, why don't we actually take suicide prevention instead of action the day of? Why don't we actually try and address it 5 years before we get to that point?
So
Real novel concept.
I think there's a big opportunity for a very slimmed down version of what you're working on at the MBSP level and some of those,
Yeah.
right?
I've already been approached by multiple about it. And then just not only this training, a few people have told me we don't see how it works, but they told me the same thing when I, started developing, chaplain certification and all that. And people told me there's no way that'll ever work. And let me tell you,
How the hell do they not see how it works?
it's going to work.
Like,
I think that's the thing, right? You've got to have that stubborn.
I mean, are we really only the 3 retards in the United States that are stupid enough to be like, no, we can do that?
Very possible.
I don't think we're the only ones, but we're in a very small minority, right?
Like, I can't believe someone would say that to you with your stuff.
And
if I had to guess, it was probably said at a state level too, which is even more depressing.
So I've had, in the last month or so, I've, in amongst all the other crap I'm doing, right? Because I'm an idiot. I became an ambassador for the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation.
Awesome.
Probably, arguably, ought to make some kind of post and announce that or something, but it's not. I didn't do it for that. I did it because genuinely I had some curiosity, and I wanted to be able to teach some of their content because some of it has a bearing on what we're doing, and it matters.
Yes.
And that's opened up because I've had that process of becoming their advocate and train the trainer and learning about what they're doing. And I can really buy into the concept of it, right? There's some good stuff there. And it's all science-based. It's backed by a lot of people that are a lot smarter than me.
Real quick, because there's probably a small segment of people out there that aren't familiar with NFA.
NFF.
Yeah, NFFF. Sorry, not FA.
It lives at the NFA.
Yes. Give me just a couple of programs they run that are like national level programs.
So the big one's Courage to Be Safe, right? Which is a required item
100%
for everybody in Texas.
Probably in the U.S.
Yes.
Not quite, but in Texas for sure it's a required item.
Yeah.
There's a lot of states where it is, and there's not a lot of opportunities for in-person education for it, especially in a state as big as Texas, right?
Yeah.
They do have agreements for TEKS to teach it. They have agreements for, and there's half a dozen or more advocate instructors in Texas. There's a handful of them. Some of which are with TEKS, and some of them are with departments, and some of them are only there to teach inside their department. I got to do this because I have the ability to reach more than just my department.
Yeah.
I'm in a position where I can for sure reach the district level, but I also serve on statewide boards that would allow me to reach statewide level, right? But the catalog of stuff, right? There's 37 different offerings, and they're all pretty short classes.
Mm-hmm.
So you could stack 3 or 4 of them together into a single day of training or whatever. One that I just got through doing the student version of it, and hopefully this week I get to do the train the trainer on it, is the AAR. So after action review class, which that's almost a dirty word, right?
Yeah.
To do these after action reviews, but I can see that there's a tremendous benefit if it's done correctly, right? It can't be the gripe session. It can't be it can't be all these things that it can't be, but if it's done right, it's a good thing. And I want to take that, and I built that into that officer class, that particular online version of that into that officer class as a required piece for that, because it has value if we can learn how to do it correctly.
Because they don't know how to do it correctly, all of a sudden the AAR becomes a debrief, which it's not. They're two separate things.
Right.
And so all of a sudden everything gets muddied there, and you're not accomplishing really the end goal of either one.
Right. Yeah. You create some weird thing that's not helpful.
Hybrid that does nothing.
Yeah. Does nothing.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of opportunity, especially in an organization like ours, right? We are progressive, and we're constantly trying to improve, and we're trying to be better than we are. That's a good piece that we could use to help us become better. And I'm looking forward to taking the train the trainer, and that's going to be where I'm bounce off. I'm going to get with our training captain, and I'm going to get that scheduled for a drill night for me to teach that.
Yeah, that's great.
Just because I think it has value.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of classes out there that are significantly overlooked just because the fire service is inundated with a lot of, for lack of better words, so the state of Texas is going to start requiring firefighters to take cancer awareness every 5 years.
Yes.
I disagree with that. I think the class is more than enough once. Like, why don't we actually require something real novel? Like every 5 years you have to have a separate class from not NFA.
Courage to Be Safe is one of them that they're going to start requiring every few years.
I mean, Jesus, how many times are we actually attempting to do something that's a benefit for the person versus, this checks a box?
So I'm the guy that sits on the board that votes that stuff, right? And as I ventured down this rabbit hole that gained more knowledge than the average guy sitting on that board, I've come to realize that it's not requiring courage to be safe. That's not truly what we should be doing. There's about 4 or 5 different courses
Yeah.
that piggyback off of that course.
Yeah.
We should be requiring
A progression
of it every 5 years.
Right.
Where you can take the courage to be safe again, or you could take LAC, or you could take Lee, or you could take all these other classes that are available that expand your knowledge off of that initial class where it actually has some relevancy.
Well,
and I think that's something that I realized because I went down this rabbit hole. I don't think it's something that the general membership of that board has a clue even exists.
I was talking to a friend of mine who's on a career department, and I was talking about different trainings, and I realized through that conversation something I already knew in the back of my mind, but these different trainings that really enhance your mind and enhance your understanding of things. A lot of career guys don't care to take those because do I get a certification and will it help me advance and will it help me advance in pay?
Or just give me more pay, yeah.
That's right. And so that's their viewpoint. Will it give me a cert to help me advance? For a volunteer, a lot of the time it's like that's a great fire class. I'll gain knowledge. Let me take that. Because it's not a question of will it help me advance? Will it double my $0 in volunteer pay? No. You trust me, we're still gonna pay you the same thing. But you'll be better for
I got an extra 0 the other day. Paul gave me an extra 0.
Did you?
Yeah. I'm up to 3.
You
I'm
earned
gonna
it.
give you a raise. I'm gonna move the decimal point 2 spots to the left for you.
Now,
Okay.
I do know before we kind of went down this last rabbit hole that Lowell was giving us the hand signal. That the way I interpreted it was that he had to do an emergency baptism and an exorcism at the same time.
Same time.
So
Yeah. Do you have any Alka-Seltzer?
Yeah.
Okay,
Are you
perfect.
gonna put them in your mouth?
I was
it
going to put them in their mouth, so
Oh.
make sure
Oh.
it for filming purposes it makes it that much more
I
exciting.
can give you one of those black bath bombs.
Oh.
Put that in your pocket when you dive in the pool. So, kind of bounced all over the place. Do you ever have questions, concerns, comments about how to set up a legitimate chaplaincy program and actually start doing something that helps your membership at the station level,
Hit us up.
department
We'll reach to the
level,
right people.
Yes,
and
I'll be glad to help anybody who needs it.
let us know. We can get you in contact with people, certified people that actually know what the hell they're talking about. We'll keep it relatively light and quick there. If you ever have questions, you can find us at ittasteslikeburningcast@gmail.com. You can find us at ittasteslikeburningcast at a whole bunch of other places. This Matt.
This is Jesse.
Lowell.
Have a good evening.